Hey everyone, Theo here. Today I'm reviewing the Bigme Read, a compact, portable, lightweight e-reader with a 6-inch Kata HD ePaper display panel. First of all, disclaimer, this is a review unit provided by the company, and in this video I'll just present to you my findings so that you can decide whether this is worth the money. The price of this e-reader is US $99, and this is the direct competitor to the Amazon Kindle, which is selling for US $109. So the main difference between Bigme Read versus the Amazon Kindle is this has Google Play Store, and Amazon Kindle is a closed system, so you can only use the Amazon ebook store to get your books. But here there is still the Amazon Kindle app, and you can install apps such as Libby to borrow books from your local library. But there are some limitations with Google Play Store, which I will talk more about later. So let's look at the design. So this is a pretty clean and simple design. The bezels are quite uniform on the four sides except for the bottom, which is thicker. And there is this button here which may look like a home button, but it's actually a back button. So if you are deep inside the app, you have to press several times to go back to the home screen. On the back, this is matte textured, and this is very susceptible to fingerprints, and we can see curves on the four sides, so this is quite comfortable to hold. And this is very lightweight. This is just 170 grams. Here at the bottom there is one speaker, the micro SD card reader, that's probably the mic, and that's the USB-C charging port with USB 2 transfer speed. Audio quality from the small speaker is hollow, and there is no 3.5mm audio jack, so if you want to listen to audio, you have to use Bluetooth headsets. Resolution of the ePaper display is 758 by 1024, so the PPI is 212. Text looks sharp enough to me. The gray of the ePaper display is light, it's not dark, so that's how you get the good contrast with the text against the light gray. And you can see the text has some rough edges, and unfortunately there is no e-ink center to adjust the text quality. So this is the sharpest the text will be. This is a laminated display, so the text really looks like it's on the surface of the tablet. Now there is a tiny gap between the surface and the ePaper canvas, because if you look here on the left edge, there is actually some cast shadow. But when you are reading, you probably won't notice that, and you will see that the text is on the surface of the display. And this is how the anti-glare looks. So when there is strong light source, it's going to look like this. When there is some light source, it's going to look like this. And when there are no light source, it's going to look like this. I would say the overall reading experience is quite good. Now there are no page flip buttons, so to flip through the pages, you have to tap on the display. And as you can see, when flipping through the display, there is some lag or sluggishness. So let's open up this PDF file, which is 500 megabyte. Now to make sure that the tablet actually registers your tap, it would be better to just tap like harder on the display, press harder on the display. So this is a 500 megabyte black and white PDF file for this comic. And the page flip is actually quite fast, faster compared to the earlier page flip, the moving page flip. Because this one, the page would just refresh onto itself, whereas earlier with Libby, the page actually moves. So you get that illusion that the performance is quite sluggish. But here you can see as the page refresh onto itself, the page flip is actually quite fast. Now 6-inch is actually not great. It's not a great size for reading comics because the text will be too small. The Kindle app does not use the page moving animation, so the page will refresh onto itself. And here you can see a image. It's a color image, but it's converted to black and white, and the contrast is not that good. So this tablet is really made for reading text. It's not made for viewing visuals. The visuals color conversion from the colored visuals will not look that good. And as I flip through the pages, you can see that this is actually quite fast. I mean, it's not instant, but it's fast enough for reading purposes. Since I still have the Bigme hybrid phone with me, I want to show you a size comparison. So this phone has a 6.1-inch display and this tablet has a 6-inch display. And you can see the tablet display is much bigger because of the aspect ratio, and the phone display is more narrow. But interestingly, the reading experience on the phone is actually really good as well. I was able to read a few books on this, and the e-ink canvas is light gray, same as the e-ink canvas on the tablet. And the contrast looks kind of similar. There are 36 levels of adjustment for warm and cool light, and I've set a shortcut to adjust the cool light with this slider on the right side and warm light with the slider on the left side. Okay, and from what I can see, the lighting seems to be quite even. So if you are reading on this tablet, this e-reader, during daytime, you actually don't need to increase the light because there is sufficient contrast. Battery life will drain around 4% per hour without Wi-Fi and 8% per hour with Wi-Fi. So we are looking at battery life of around 25 hours to 12 hours depending on whether you have enabled Wi-Fi, and also the battery life will vary depending on whether there is any brightness or lighting enabled. Let's look at the user interface, which is really simple. This is bare minimal UI on top of Android 8.1. So the Android version is kind of old because right now you can get Android 14 or 15 on Android tablets. So the downside is the Google Play Store version is also, I would say, not the most recent. And you can see it takes some time to load the Google Play Store. So this processor that's in the tablet is not that fast. But thankfully, you don't really have to use Google Play Store that often once you have installed the apps that you want. So what I want to say is, because the Google Play Store version is so old, there are certain apps that you may not be able to install. For example, if I want to install the app Kobo, so if I do a search for Kobo, and I can see that Kobo is listed here, and when I tap here to install, another thing I noticed with this tablet is sometimes the touch doesn't register the first time, so you have to tap it twice or just press harder. So the loading bar went to 100% and the install button came back again, so I wasn't able to install Kobo. I wasn't able to install Pocket Cast as well, and also YouTube Music. And some apps will just say they are incompatible with this device. So what's happening here is some of those apps would actually require recent software requirements, which cannot be provided by Android 8.1, which is 6-7 versions ago. And the thing is, you won't know whether your favorite app can be installed on this after you have this in hand to test the tablet. So I am not able to test all the apps obviously, so I can only tell you that Amazon Kindle and Libby works. I have also transferred some books into the internal storage, so let's have a look at them. Let's look at the bookshelf. There is this AI feature which I'm sure not many people will use. So this is the internal storage. This tablet only has 2 gigs of RAM, which I guess is still sufficient for reading books, and internal storage is 32 gigabytes. So if you need more storage, you can always use your own SD card. So to conclude, can I recommend this e-reader? If you are looking for a simple no-frills e-reader and you do not want to buy the Amazon Kindle because the Amazon tablet is locked to the Kindle ecosystem and their OS, this can be one you can consider because this is running on Android, even though the version is but there is Google Play Store, so you can still install apps. This Google Play Store version and the Android 8.1, they are both kind of old, so not all the apps are compatible with this tablet. And thankfully, I have Libby here. But if you are using an app that cannot be installed, well, that's going to be a major bummer. Or you can download your own books onto the tablet to read. US $99 is quite an attractive pricing. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you about this navigation bar. So you can tap here on the navigation bar and there will be additional shortcuts you can use, and you can customize these shortcuts as well. This navigation bar is actually quite useful. If there is a new version of this tablet in the future, I hope the company can add the ability to customize the e-ink quality, because that will give you the option to improve the quality of the text on the display. Alright, so if you guys are interested to buy this, you can check out the purchase links that I have for you in the video description below. And if you want to see my full review of the Bigme Hybrid Pro, the link is in the video description below. And this is actually a much better e-reader compared to this tablet, because this is an e-reader and a phone, and the performance is like noticeably more responsive. But of course, this is also 4 times more expensive.